Okay, this is a good topic to follow up with for the previous podcast, which focused on AI-empowered multi-scale climate modeling for mitigation and adaptation. We have discussed already multiple times about how things like blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, and AI are massive energy hogs, and they also take up a lot of water. All the cloud services, for example, autonomous car, let's say, is going around collecting data to stay safely on the road and avoiding other cars, etc. That cloud requires lots of energy. Are you going to produce it on the car with solar or something else, or are you going to use batteries that are using conventional energy? So there's always this energy angle for application of AI, and now the applications of AI are getting more and more applied. The applications of AI are now quite widespread, from genetics to astrophysics, everything we can think of. So how do we prioritize environmental sustainability in the use of AI and data science methods? Artificial intelligence and data science will play a crucial role in improving environmental sustainability, but the energy requirements of these methods will have an increasingly negative effect on the environment without sustainable design and use. So AI is here to help in many ways. Downscaling for early warning systems is my favorite application for agriculture, water, energy, health, transportation, buildings, infrastructure, and so on. But all those applications use energy, so always have to come back to where the energy is coming from. So recognizing the environmental impact of computational environmental science research, there is data collection, obviously, in situ instruments, platforms, drones, aircrafts, satellites, and then you have data storage, cloud services, which are energy hogs. Data processing requires lots of computing and energy, and knowledge dissemination, like I'm doing now, requires a lot of energy as well, right? So the environmental impact should be considered at every stage of research, from data collection to knowledge dissemination. With the rapid development of AI tools and the increasing energy demands of these methods, there is a particular opportunity to improve the environmental sustainability of the data processing stage, and a particular responsibility for environmental scientists to lead by example. All these IPCC simulations we are making out to 2100 and beyond, is there a cost-benefit analysis on that? How much energy does it use, right? Other than financial and human resources, of course. So against the backdrop of an implicit assumption that computational resources will continue to increase in availability and reduce in cost, it's rare for researchers to explicitly consider the environmental impacts when designing or choosing analysis methods. We believe there is an opportunity for the environmental science community to drive a change in the approach, optimizing energy use when conducting their own computational research and advocating for other research domains to do the same. Considering environmental sustainability in computational research will both accelerate innovation and democratize it. Regions most affected by climate change and where local research could have huge benefits are less likely to have access to significant computational resources, like developing countries, low-income countries, and so on. Making energy efficiency and sustainability a primary consideration will also catalyze innovative methodological approaches to scientific research. By aligning these changes with domain-based understanding of the scientific need, we can set standards for the best practice in a strategic way. So let's say lots of students are being taught how to run models, and they are excited and they keep making simulations, often just exploration. Are they paying attention to the energy use and sustainability issues? Not necessarily. So if we make it part of the thinking, every time we do something, if we think about the impact of our analysis, dissemination, whatever, in terms of energy, that's going to be very useful and lead to innovations to reduce the impact. So if you want to continue doing many computations for fun and exploration and figuring out serendipitous new findings, then what do we need to do to reduce the energy use as well as changing the energy sources, right? Energy requirements of computational methods. Then net zero is defined as a state in which anthropogenic emissions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere are balanced by anthropogenic removals out of atmosphere. There will be irreducible emissions, so we need to draw down more than we emit. Achieving net zero requires the coordination of efforts across social, political, economic, and technological spheres. Of course, AI and data science will play a crucial role in this complex process, helping us to understand and ultimately optimize anthropogenic energy usage. Competing with this potential benefit is the fact that AI and data science have huge energy and environmental costs themselves. The resource requirements of AI research, development, and application are continually increasing, and nations are under pressure to invest in ever larger computational facilities to keep pace. The potential environmental impact of this is acknowledged, motivating efforts to make computing more sustainable, including the adoption of more energy efficient hardware, better management of data centers, and the use of renewables to power systems. The role of software architecture is also recognized as important, and that making progress with this will require users skilled in writing efficient code optimized for minimum environmental impact. Okay, everything, your little iPhone is going to have AI now fully functional. Already it's doing many things, autocorrect, etc. And your smartwatch, pretty much anything you can think of has AI being used at some level. There are some initiatives promoting energy efficient software for research. I thought I put that somewhere. You can click on that link. There is basically a green software initiative, and this initiative, along with efforts to develop high level principles for computational scientists, are the initiatives that are already promoting energy efficiency. Nevertheless, the environmental sustainability of methods, and in particular the way in which data are processed, is not currently a major consideration of any part of the computational science research community, and there are few guidelines for those wishing to develop or use AI and data science in sustainable way. Okay, so that's what we looked at here. Every email we send also has an energy cost, right? So we all know that even if somebody is sitting just down the hall, we will be exchanging emails and not getting up and walking over to talk in person, because this has become so convenient and we are just getting used to doing things this way, right? So continuing then, embedding environmental sustainability in AI, basically mainstreaming sustainability into AI applications. The inaugural meeting of the Alan Turing Institute Environment and Sustainability Interest Group, held in Manchester on 15th March 2022, culminated in an open discussion about the relationship between the AI and data science and environmental sustainability. It considered the potential for AI and data science to help us reach net zero, as well as how AI and data science might negatively impact our ability to reach net zero, and how we might maximize the environmental benefits while reducing the energy costs of the research. We want to get on sustainability pathway and stay there. We want to head towards net zero and achieve it by 2050 or so, and AI is going to play a very critical role in all these, just in terms of tracking everything, monitoring, evaluation, reporting, modeling, projecting, predicting, and so on. But we must also track the sustainability issues of using AI and data science itself, right? it considered the potential this meeting for AI and data science to help us reach net zero, as well as how AI and data science might negatively impact our ability to reach net zero, and how we might maximize the environmental benefits whilst reducing the energy costs of research. Overwhelmingly, the view was that this issue is not considered in most environmental science research. It was proposed that environmental scientists should not use AI and data science to understand and improve our environment without also considering the energy efficiency and sustainability of the analyses themselves. Following this discussion, the Alan Turing Institute Environment and Sustainability Interest Group have worked with the Software Sustainability Institute to propose a series of recommendations to the environmental science research community with the aim of helping to embed environmental sustainability in future computational research. So the focus here is on the environmental science research community, because they have to lead by example. They are the ones going to help in implementing sustainable pathways and net zero, and then other disciplines can also follow, especially finance and astrophysics, biology, genetics, everybody, right? Minimize the environmental impact in methods choice. Rather than relying on increasing computing power, researchers should consider upfront the carbon footprint of their approach and be able to explicitly justify the carbon budget of any computational research. There's a truck going by making massive noise. Researchers should continually reflect on the methods used and consider whether data-intensive machine learning is necessary at all. Whenever researchers develop new methods or apply existing ones, they should ask themselves whether they are using the most energy-efficient approach. A simpler, less energy-intensive method than machine learning may be sufficient for the aims of the research. They should question whether a small increase in accuracy is worth the extra computing resources required. Now there is, bandwagon of papers saying how AI improved the forecast, but there is no real calculations on what cost was associated with that tiny increase and whether that increase in fact translates to better decisions, saving lives and property, etc. Prioritize research on the environmental impact. We know anecdotally that some methods are more efficient than others, and that there are trade-offs between readability of code and computational efficiency and human versus computing resources. For example, carefully curated data can be processed faster than noisy raw data. However, the environmental science community lacks proper guidance as to how much carbon will be used or saved as a function of a methodological approach. Surely you are not going to worry about carbon footprint when you use any AI approach or any statistical modeling versus high resolution model versus low resolution model, and so on and so forth. There is also a lack of understanding of how processor usage correlates with the power usage, which makes estimating carbon footprints challenging. Systematically examining the environmental footprint of these design choices would help inform decisions on which approaches to use. Such systematic investigations require an interdisciplinary approach considering human and organizational aspects of the complex system that makes up the research process, as well as the technical part of it. Environmental scientists have a key role to play in motivating and contributing to this research. Of course, you have to develop and disseminate best practices, so environmental sustainability of computing methods may not be considered in the wider research community because the environmental impact is not fully understood and we don't even know often how to compute it. Champion sustainable science beyond academic research, so researchers should choose industrial partners committed to environmental sustainability themselves and argue for energy efficiency in AI and data sciences when working with others. This is not, thought of as yet, but we have to lead by example first, right? So we have to champion sustainable science beyond academic research. And doing sustainability on campus, net zero on campus, training students as ambassadors of action is another approach where they learn to think of sustainability, environmental impacts in everything they do, and not just jump on using AI and use the data to do things that are just exploratory without knowing the cost benefit of those things, right? Improve the accessibility of the methods. So obviously any methods you develop should be made available to everybody so everybody can quickly adjust their impacts downward. Policy change takes place at regional scales and works best when it draws on local scientific data and intelligence. Developing data-driven insights requires access to open and robust digital tools, yet areas of the world likely to be most affected by climate change often have much lower investment in digital infrastructure, and as such the energy requirements of AI and data science methods are a critical barrier. Okay, so low energy methods therefore not only help the environment but democratize access to AI, as they are cheaper to use and have lower infrastructure requirements. Okay, so obviously again, finally, leading by example, these recommendations are aimed at those working in the environmental research who can lead by example by adopting and championing them as appropriate. However, progress will require more than scientists' buy-in. You need to get everybody. As our understanding of the energy footprint of analysis design decisions improves, the continued development and sharing of best practices will feed into funder policy and AI regulation. So you may have to report in your proposals what the carbon footprint of your computational approaches will be. Alright, that's a new way that things may end up. So we ultimately hope our recommendations serve as a starting point for developing robust standards that will minimize the environmental impact and facilitate the accessibility of AI and data science innovation, with benefits for both the global research community and the world at large. So some broad points, but very important points, and paradigm shifts can happen once we begin to consider it our responsibility to make this happen. Otherwise, make always choices with carbon footprints, energy usage, and sustainability, environmental impacts in mind. Okay, so let's leave this here and let's not worry about what the next topic is, because I keep saying what the next topic is and then I keep changing my mind because I find the topic to be of not great interest. We will look at AI for disaster management if it has enough good points. Okay, see you in the next topic anyways.